A, B, C. A, always, B, B, C, closing. Always be closing.
Always be closing.
If you want to be successful, if you want to make loads of money, you have to always be closing. You always have to go for the kill, always have to go for the sale, right? That sounds like a familiar message, doesn't it? Always be closing is seen as the attitude of a winner. And if you don't have that attitude, if you don't have what it takes to always be going for the sale, well, then you're just a loser. And losers don't get coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Well, here's what I think of that. In short, the always be closing attitude makes for phony, fake, and over-the-top marketing and sales messages. And you know what I mean, right? The kind of trying too hard selling, pushy sales copy that really we probably see and we know this probably works, but we usually don't want to be associated with it. In a recent video, I talked about how for long-term success, you don't actually need this kind of attitude. You don't have to be short-term profit-seeking and you don't have to do hard selling for long-term success. But then what's the alternative, you ask? Well, here's my alternative. In my own approach to business and especially to marketing, I have followed something like a motto that's an alternative to always be closing. And I've done so for a long time. That alternative is never be desperate. The way I see it, always be closing is the motto for the employed salesperson with a quota and a stack of leads that they have to get through. Never be desperate is the motto of the entrepreneur with a smart marketing strategy. And primarily this is about exactly what it states, never be desperate. I try to make sure that in all of my marketing, all of my sales processes, so everything I do to try and win new customers for my business, that I'm never desperate. I'm never desperately trying to cajole or convince someone to become a customer. Because for me, the moment I have to do that, it's an indication that something went wrong elsewhere. So let me break the never be desperate idea and strategy down into 3 main points. Point number 1 is what we could call product market fit. You have a great, highly valuable product that either solves a problem that people desperately want to fix or that brings some value to a group of people who have a desire for that thing. And is it a differentiated product? Is it clear what makes your offer unique and different from the rest? If that's the case, then you shouldn't need to be desperate in your attempt to get people to purchase. With the right product in front of the right crowd, all you have to do is clearly communicate the value of that product, and you can do so very calmly, and you will gain customers. So if that's not happening, that could mean that either there's a problem with your product, it's not the right product, it's not valuable enough, it doesn't solve a problem, something like that, or that you're talking to the wrong people. So you have to go and talk to a different crowd of people. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're desperately trying to get the sale and you're basically using hard selling and pushy marketing tactics, then look for product market fit as a place to solve that problem. Point number 2 is that there's a difference between inbound marketing and sales. And I see myself as an inbound marketing person, not a salesperson. So what's the difference, right? A salesperson goes out, knocks on doors, and then tries to talk people into buying their kitchen knife set or whatever. Whereas inbound marketing, here the idea is that the people who are my potential customers, they come to me, not the other way around. And in fact, this is not news because that's exactly what things like search engine optimization and content marketing and a lot of social media marketing, that's exactly what they're about. They're about putting messages out there that lead the right people to come to you so that you don't have to go out and go to them. So yeah, I'm basically not saying anything new here, but I think it's a good reminder because it seems to me that in online marketing, a lot of people either forget about this distinction or don't realize that there's a choice. Yes, you can go out and be a salesperson, but you can also be an inbound marketer. Now, I see this like 2 sides of a seesaw or of a balancing scale. The better my product is, the better my product market fit is, and the better my inbound marketing work is, the less selling I have to do, the less effort I have to put into selling people and pushing people to buy. But, there is one counter argument that I'm sure someone's already busy typing in the comments, which is that yes, even given with all this, even if you have the perfect product market fit and so on, harder selling is going to make you more money. Because even if you have great inbound marketing, a great product, great sales page, your conversion rate is still only going to be a few percentage points, right? And so harder selling is going to bump that up and it's going to make you more money. So really, am I just leaving money on the table? Am I just being a goody two-shoes despite myself? And am I just giving horrible advice here? You can think of it like this. When people encounter your product, there's going to be immediately three groups. Some are immediately in the yes camp. They immediately decide they want what you have to offer and they make a purchase. Some are in the no camp. They're not going to purchase and nothing you do will convince them otherwise. And most are in the middle. Most are in the maybe camp. And selling is the process of moving people from a maybe to a yes. Whatever you do to talk to an audience of people who are already in front of you, who've already found you, is moving people from that maybe to a yes. Now here's one of the problems. The more you push, the harder you push, the more people you move from maybe to yes, the more people will become customers who really shouldn't have, for whom the product really isn't that great of a fit, and for whom the purchase decision would have been better as a no. And that is where the short-term versus long-term view becomes important again. Because yes, in the short term, you can just push as hard as you can to get as many people into yes as possible. But in the long term, if you're building a business for 5, 10, 20 or more years, and you want to have repeat customers, you want to have people who are happy about their purchase decision and the entire process they went through, then pushing harder will eventually hurt you in the long term. There is one scenario for me where pushing people from maybe to yes is kind of the most positive scenario. And that is when the objection is price. If you're selling an expensive product, but it's a highly valuable product, you're talking to the right crowd, and the objection is basically, well, should I spend all this money on this product? That's what's stopping people. And there you push more people towards yes, that's basically good for your business and it's good for them as well. As long as you're only pushing people who can actually afford the high price that you're charging. This again, in some sectors, if you look at enterprise business stuff that costs a lot of money, no problem. But in some sectors, people are doing a lot of salesy stuff to push people towards a yes when really they shouldn't, right? So you're getting people to spend thousands of dollars that they don't really have. You're getting people to go into debt, to use their credit cards to buy stuff and so on. That is bad, and I don't want to have any of that. So even in that scenario, there's a limit to how hard I want to push, even if there's more money to be had. Which brings me to my final element about the never be desperate concept, which is nudge, but don't push. So the way I see it, yes, you have to move people from the maybe to the yes zone. And I will always do things to nudge people towards a yes. That's what good copywriting is for. That's what good content marketing does to some degree. And that's what things like time-limited offers are for, which is something I've done in my business for a long time. But all this can be done while being totally above board and honest and without making any false promises, without any of that stuff, and without really pushing hard. So again, basically you can do this without being desperate in trying to get people to buy something. Because I believe that if you have something that's truly valuable and you're talking to the right people, you don't need to basically desperately push or beg people to become customers. And not least, one of the reasons I follow the never be desperate idea is because I just don't want to. So, even if there is more money to be had, and even if it wouldn't harm my business in the long term, I just don't want to be doing that. And I have a choice not to do that because my business is strong enough, it's profitable enough, and there are enough people out there for whom it is a perfect fit, for whom it is an immediate yes, or for whom it is a yes after a slight nudge, that I don't have to go and cajole people into buying my thing. So instead of investing time and effort and resources into pushing harder, I would much rather invest time and resources into making a better product and finding more of those countless people for whom it is exactly the right match. So that's my take on hard selling and the always be closing attitude. I hope you found this useful. Let me know what your thoughts on this are by leaving a comment below. And hey, while we're at it, if you want to see an example of non-pushy sales, go check out the sales page for my productivity course, Focus and Action. I'll link to that below.